Are going to get started. All right, we have started. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us to our Aruna session here. I want to thank everybody who is taking the time to join us live. And then, of course, those who decide to listen to this session afterwards on YouTube. This session is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour. There's a lot of information that we're going to be covering. This is a little bit different than our usual monthly construction update webinar, because we are launching some new models here. And in addition, I wanted to give you an update about what's going on with the whole project and then go through what is new and just being launched. So with that being said, if you have any questions, feel free to type it into the Q&A section of the control panel for those who are live, and then those who are listening to this afterwards. Best email address, you'll see it below, as well as info@lunarealtybelize.com, info@lunarealtybelize.com. So we are going to jump in. My name is Rachel Jensen. I am the broker owner of Luna Realty Belize here on Ambergris Caye. Belize, specifically Ambergris Caye, has been my home over the last 11 years. I'm originally from New York and made my way down in 2012, where I was working with a developer, worked with that developer for about 10 years. And then last year decided to branch out and start the real estate brokerage here on the island, which has been going very well. And I want to thank everybody who had supported us over the last year in making the real estate company possible. I also sit on the board for the National Real Estate Association here in country. So I am quite involved in real estate here in the entire country, not just on Ambergris, but Ambergris is where I call home and am focused. So like I mentioned, this really is home for me. And even though I'm from New York originally, I do go back and visit occasionally, friends and family, of course, and come visit. But we've really established ourselves, our lives here. And I'm always happy to talk to people about what life is like in Belize, if that's something that perhaps you're thinking about over the long term. So just some quick information about the country. Belize is small population-wise. About 400,000 people live here in country, give or take. The country size is about the size of Massachusetts. English is the official language. Fairly small GDP. There's not necessarily tons produced here, but it's about 1.76 mil. And then the currency that we use here is the Belize dollar. It's pegged to the US dollar. So 2 Belize dollar equals 1 US dollar. Now, all of the real estate that we're going to be talking about, all of the numbers is priced in US dollars. So just bear that in mind as we are going through the slides. So I just want to give a quick overview about who is buying real estate in Belize. I see 3 primary groups and categories, and it's not exclusively limited to this, but this is who we tend to see buying here right now. So those who are looking to relocate to Belize full-time, they'll continue working. They typically have a job on the computer that they can do, but so they're not necessarily dependent on finding a job in the country, but they are able to maintain their lifestyle and their income with something that they've already been doing. They may also be looking for a turnkey business or trying to find ways to get integrated into the community business-wise, but usually they already have something established. The second is the forward-thinking investors who are looking to land bank, invest generally, have some rental income coming in. They see what's going on in the market. They see that there's an increase in prices happening year after year and want to get in while the prices are what they are at today's price. 10 years ago, it was a very different market. 5 years ago, it was a very different market. Even last year, it was a very different market. But what we've seen year after year is those prices continue to increase. And then we also see the foreigners who are ready to relax and fully retire. Now, in between those last two, we see the people who are looking to own real estate now, and then down the line come and spend more time here. I'd say at Aruna, that's really what we've seen a bulk of, people who want to get rental income now, and then maybe 7, 8, 10 years from now and down the line, come here and really make this more of a permanent place for them. And I think Aruna is a great place for that because it does have that home aspect. So I'm going to quickly share with you a couple Belize market benefits, and then we're going to jump into the Aruna updates. So number one is that you as a foreigner do have the same rights to property ownership as locals. So you receive title to your property. Strata title if it's like a condo ownership, or freehold title if it's land ownership for you on the land in like a single family home. 2 is that property taxes are low, and they are assessed kind of arbitrarily, but it is technically based on the percentage of the unimproved land. So it doesn't matter what's built on the land, It really just is dependent on the unimproved land. So it's kind of done arbitrarily, right? Sometimes you'll see a property that is 45 US dollars. Sometimes you'll see one that is $350 US per year. Still very minimal though, compared to what it is in North America. Rental income tax is low as well. So you're looking at about 1.75% of the gross income is how you'll be taxed in Belize. And capital gains tax is ideal for everyone at 0% here in Belize. In your home country, it may be different, but capital gains tax here in the country, when you're selling real estate in Belize, Belize charges you 0%. British common law is practice, which I know a lot of us like because we're familiar with British common law, unless you're based in Louisiana where you have civil law, it's a little bit different, but it is something that we're familiar with. And then of course, last but not least, English is the official language. So this is one of the big reasons why people end up deciding to own property in Belize compared to Mexico or Costa Rica or Panama, because you understand what's going on. You can read the contracts, you can dialogue with the utility companies, you can have conversations with the customs and immigration officers when you're coming into the country. And these little things really do make a big difference, especially if you are planning to spend more time in the country. So I've been here over a decade at this point. I've really seen the time is now. I was chatting with a couple yesterday who was looking at Cabo in Mexico and ultimately decided that Belize is likely where they want to be. And when you look at where Belize is and that real estate appreciation curve, it's not as expensive as Costa Rica. It's not as, or developed as Costa Rica. It's not as expensive or developed as Panama, but it really is on the trajectory to get that way. So I do think next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's going to be a totally different market. But the people who've decided to do their homework today and invest today are going to be well rewarded for what they've done at this point. So we're going to be chatting about Aruna specifically today. And I know that a lot of folks are already familiar with the project. I see some homeowners on here, which I thank you for joining us. It's always nice to see the familiar names on here. But we're going to be talking about this specific development. And I know some of you have also been on our monthly construction updates and webinars. This one is more of a general project update. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier, I am expecting it to take a little bit more time to go through everything, about 45 minutes to an hour. So let's just recap where Aruna is located. So we're located on the popular island of Ambergris Caye. This island produces about 2/3 of the rental income for the entire country of Belize. Very popular because of the diving, the fishing, the snorkeling. And you can see right over here, if you can follow my cursor, this is the reef. So this is really the big reason why this island has become popular since the 70s, I would say, when we had the divers and the fishermen coming down, and it was a lot more off-grid and challenging to get to. Over the last 15 years, Belize Tourism Board has put a significant amount of money into marketing the country so that we're not overshadowed by countries like Mexico or Costa Rica that are much bigger and have a much bigger marketing dollar to actually market the country. So because of the fact that this island parallels the reef, we do tend to see a lot of people who are coming here for those water activities. And so as a result, as Ambergris Caye became more popular, and we've seen more people come down, it's not just the divers and fishermen and snorkelers, it's the families, it's the couples, the honeymooners, it's people who are coming down to enjoy the Caribbean, rent a golf cart, drive around the island and explore and feel like they're really getting a good feel of this Caribbean island here. So San Pedro is the primary town here on the island of Ambergris Caye. And that's where you see this area, follow my cursor, right over here. And Aruna is located right across the lagoon. This is all still part of the island here. So it's located about 5 minutes across the lagoon by boat ride. There is a community shuttle that is already included with Aruna, but there is also road access, which I do like to mention because this road goes up to Secret Beach. It's a very popular area for tourists and even locals alike to go and enjoy the beautiful bay out there where it's the crystal clear waters, goes up to your hips. You can walk out for miles. Leonardo DiCaprio's island is out there. So it's just a really popular spot. Now, I do want to mention when you go south of Aruna, follow my cursor, see where A is, that's Aruna. When you go south, all of this is boat access only. So the road that you see over here does stop at Aruna, which is huge. I think this is a really big plus, a big positive for this property, is you're able to get there via road or via the community shuttle. Now, what I really like about this project and what I found to be unique compared to the other developments here is that there is this, well, number one, the location, of course, but number two, there is a strong desire to live with nature. So if you've been out to the property before, yes, it's still a construction zone. There's been a lot of focus on landscaping though. So you have the water element of the canal, the bay is right there. And then in addition to that, you have the greenery that's going and you have the grass, you have the palm trees. You really have this unique feel here that I just haven't found on the island at this point. And so it is a really unique location, unique spot, unique concept. There is another canal front community here. This community, Aruna, is smaller, significantly smaller than the other one that's down south, which I know a lot of people are drawn to. You don't necessarily, you're not necessarily looking for a 600 room or 600 home area. You're looking for something a little bit more intimate. The 60, 70, 80 rooms at Aruna is what you typically will find. So it's more of that small scale boutique style that you find when you decide to own at Aruna. And when the developers were putting together the inspiration, the visuals for Aruna, they pulled from a couple of different sources, right? From Tulum, from Bali. And what they pulled from those locations were that clean aesthetic look, incorporating the green, the straw, just the clean lines that you expect when you come to those two locations. And so bringing that all together, pairing it up with what we have here in Belize really is one of those factors that makes it so incredibly unique. So there are a few different models that we're going to be highlighting, and then we do have a new launch for our phase 3 models that I'm really excited to share with you. Now, there's a lot going on this site map here. So we are working on simplifying it. So I apologize if your eyes are just going everywhere, but I do want you to follow me for, I'd say, a minute or two as I go through this. So I mentioned to you that Aruna will be about between 60 to 90 keys in total. And so what I mean by keys are mixed between single family homes, condos, tiny homes. And phase 1, follow my cursor, phase 1 right over here is actively under construction, opening, doing a soft opening end of this year, and then opening officially for tourists and guests the beginning of next year. And so right now in this phase, there are only two homes available. The rest of them have sold. And then phase 2, that's all sold out. And then phase 3 is where we're doing this new launch, which we're really, really excited about. I think that we're going to be capturing a unique market that we just haven't had the chance to capture before. Now follow my cursor again on the right-hand side of the page. This is the area where when you come up by boat, you pull up to this amenity area right over here, and you have the pool, you have the restaurant, the bar area, lounge space, and you can see a picture of that below, that this is what you'd be welcomed to and welcomed by when you come up by boat to the property over here. So that is already constructed. It is finishing construction now. The kitchen items and materials for the restaurant are already here. I know they'll be doing a tasting menu in the next few weeks, which I'm really excited about, to get an idea of what it is they're going to be serving. And then as you continue down the dock over here, you approach the beach area, which you can kind of see here in this little picture, and then you approach phase 1. So phase 1, I would say, is ideal for somebody who's looking to enter the rental market sooner rather than later. R3, right over here, the studio model on the canal, is already constructed and ready for ownership and will instantly be able to be put into the rental market. And then the Gardens duplex over here, R11, that one is currently under construction. I know I had somebody send me a message earlier wanting the rental history of all of this. We don't have any rental history at this point. We have performas based on the market, based on what we've seen, but these have not rented yet. So I don't have actuals for you. I have projections based on the market. But we go to phase 2. Phase 2 is sold out, actively under construction. There's a little photo over here. Follow my cursor again, if you can see the construction that's happening within phase 2. And then follow my cursor again. There's 2 other areas where you'll find the amenities. And so if you see where I'm circling right over here, these are the amenities that are going to be put in with phase 2. And then also as phase 3 begins. Phase 2, follow my cursor right over here. The amenities that you can expect on that side is a pickleball court, which I know a lot of people are really excited about, an outdoor gym space, and a yoga palapa. And then this drawbridge will be added as we begin construction for phase 3. And over here, excuse me, that's where you'll find the commercial shops, vendors. If you're somebody who's looking to relocate and perhaps you're not quite ready to retire, You can rent a kiosk. Don't ask me rental numbers yet of kiosks. The property manager doesn't have them yet, but perhaps you want to do like a little ice cream shop or something along those lines. That could be where you have your little shop, and that'd be great to be able to service the Aruna community. The newest addition that we're going to be adding into Aruna is this 8-plex. So it's 4 units on the first floor, 4 units on the second floor. We're not going any higher than two stories for these 8-plexes. We really want to keep the look and the feel similar to what's already being constructed at Aruna. And I think the architect did a phenomenal job with that. Continuing on, tiny homes. There are 3 right over here, which could be a studio model or a 1-bedroom. And then where you see this grayed out block, that can either be 3 additional tiny homes, or it can be a larger 2 or 3-bedroom single family home, just depending on what the market is looking for. And then as we continue, C13 and C14, those are areas dedicated for specifically 2 and 3-bedroom homes. As you can see, there are some models in the 3rd phase that are already sold. These are folks who we appreciated as you bared with us as we got the details, but they approached us, I'd say a few months ago, and said, we really like this location. What can we do to secure it? So those are sold at this point. But I do want to mention that there are still great locations if you're looking for a larger 2 or 3-bedroom home. And then where you see E2 and E3, these are resort units. At this point, the developer is not certain if they are going to be offering these for sale. And then this larger structure that you see over here, that is the developer's home that they will be constructing as well. So we are planning to add in this phase 3 area right over here, there'll be another resort pool that's added. We understand as there's additional units with the 8-plex and the condo style, that it is important to have that pool. And then also here with the 2 and 3-bedroom homes, they do have their own lap pools. And then you can add pools here for the tiny homes if you want a little fun pool. And then in addition to that, the developers are just confirming what their plans are for this area right over here. It could be more amenities. It could be a few things. So they're just working through that in order to get that confirmed. But otherwise, the phase 3 that you see over here in that yellow block is ready for reservations and sales. And it's what I'm really excited about. It's been really exciting to work through the plans and to see, what the market is looking for. And I can tell you based on our experience in the marketplace, and I do a lot of webinars and market research and understand what pricing is and what's selling, what's not selling. There's a huge market right now for people who are looking like under that 200 mark, but want something nice. And I think the 8-plex is going to serve that market really well without devaluing the properties that are here for $500,000-$600,000. So again, I know a lot going on right over here. And I appreciate everybody as I talk through that. We are going to be simplifying a little bit, so it is a little bit easier to follow. But I think it's important for you to see the 3 phases currently, and then do note that there is room for future expansion, where you see on the left-hand side that the developers will be working on after phase 3. So the goal was to really build these 2 sides of the canal in tandem, or as close to being in tandem as possible, so that as we get them rented, there's not big distractions with construction and whatnot. Maybe for that first year there will be the construction, but then anything there afterwards would be going there towards the end of the canal. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right in here and talk a little bit more about the amenities, and then from there we'll go through the floor plans and excuse me, all those fun details. So under construction right now, we have the beach club, the Sunset Pool Club, which it's just a really stunning pool. You can kind of see it right over here, but it's an infinity pool, and you look right out into the bay. When we were there at the property earlier, and you're standing right over here where the lounge chairs are, we saw stingrays, we saw dolphins there the other day, which was really cool to see, starfish, tons of marine life. If you're somebody who really enjoys fishing, then being on the canal is probably something that you'll want to look at accomplishing, because in the canal over here, you have tons of fish. They're doing a mangrove restoration as well, and we know mangroves is where fish like to breed. So lots of fish coming in, just lots of spawning that's already happening. I know our construction guy said that he saw 3 5-foot barracudas here in the canal, which was just awesome. So if you're somebody who enjoys fishing, then this could be a really great place for you. But I mentioned to you that they are working on the restaurant, working on the menu over there already, complimentary Wi-Fi, of course. And then I also enjoy that there are the king size beds, because sometimes you have these properties that have the smaller beds, the queen size. So it's nice to have that comfort. And then as you can see here for the canal front homes, at least in phase one, they do have that overhanging deck, which is private and overhanging the canal. So you just take your fishing line and go right in. Coming soon, so this is going to be coming with phase two and phase three, is the chill and work area, the yoga space, spa, on-site adventure concierge, outdoor gym, which we talked about, the playground, shops and kiosks we mentioned, and then also the pickleball court. So this is coming with phase two and phase three. These are some renderings so you can get an idea of what that common area would look like, to see the kiosks and to see the space of where people will be coming together. In Belize, it's a very tropical climate, and we tend to live outdoors. So having spaces like this are really important, especially for visitors, for tourists who are in town, but then also the people who decide to make Aruna home. You want to be able to have that space. So this is dialing in a little bit more on that pool and dining area in phase one. So even if you're in phase two or phase three, you'll be able to use the amenities here. But here, first floor is the bar area, second floor is the restaurant, and then third floor is more of that lounge space. You can see that we've started to put furniture here, but having the lounge chairs there by the pool, having the seating area is all important in order to make it comfortable for when you are enjoying the amenities. You can start to see some of the beach area over here. We are in the process of putting in the day beds as well. So you'll have really nice, comfortable space. And then I know there are some of you who visited Aruna earlier this year before we had a lot of the landscaping in, but you can see now what a difference it's making with the palms, with the grass. And as phase one gets completed, integrating more of the landscaping is going to be key, especially as I mentioned earlier, we're marrying this concept of jungle and sea. And you do that by having the water views, which we already have with the canal and the bay, but then also integrating the landscaping and the greenery. So in phase one, this is the phase that is just finishing up with construction. There are two models that are currently available for private ownership. So one of them is R3, which is the canal front studio. It's a take call model. And what I like about this one is the fact that it has this overhanging deck right over here. The deck is really quite spacious, actually bigger outdoors than it is indoors, but in total it's about 800 square feet of space. It is a single standing structure, so you don't have anyone adjoining next to you, right? It is a single standing structure, but that overhanging deck means that you have really cool canal views, or again, take that fishing line or just look over the side and you're able to see the marine life below. This one's going for about $240. It includes the furniture. Please note that these prices do not include the closing costs. If you're new to Belize, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to go through closing costs in Belize. That's a whole separate conversation. But do note that this is, I think, one of the most comprehensive packages or prices that I've seen for a piece of real estate here in Belize like this, under that 250 mark, where it's single standing, has water views, comes fully furnished. It's getting more and more rare these days to find something along those lines, especially with water view, You know, typically if you're looking in that 250 mark for a single standing structure, you're not going to necessarily be finding it. So I think that's a really great deal. I think it's a great value for somebody who's looking for something that'll be done sooner rather than later. And then the other available model is the Sky 6 model. It's a duplex. So I look at it as like two for the price of when you have two studio models. So 2 bathrooms, 2 individual units with a connecting door in between, going for $329.9. That includes the furniture as well. So again, if you're trying to maximize your rental income, right, having 2 units compared to 1 is going to be a huge difference. You can rent them as a 2-bedroom, you can rent them as 2 individual studios, and that's located, follow my cursor, right over here. And what's neat about this model specifically is it's under construction right now, but it is going to be having a rooftop veranda that spans the entire square footage of the space below. So you have these views looking out of the bay. You may not be canal front, but you do have views right there overlooking the water that won't be blocked. So I think it's a really incredible value, especially if you're trying to find something with that lock-off component where you can accommodate renters. So just showing you a little bit more of the models. I think that it's just something really unique and different here on the island. And that's what I appreciate, especially when looking at real estate and being in the real estate world. It's not a cookie cutter model. It is something that is just really different for the marketplace. And if you are thinking about this from the rental perspective, this is huge, right? This is absolutely huge because it does have this unique, calming water feel right here in front of the model. So you can see where you see these lines. This is all the decking area. So you have plenty plenty of outdoor space. And this one does come with a little kitchenette in this area over here. So even though it's not the full kitchen, you do have that kitchenette area. Really quite beautiful. We did walkthroughs as well as for both of these models, if anyone wants to see a video of what it's like just versus the photos. And then this was the other model I was talking about. It's the Sky 6 model. At this point, it's the Gardens one that is available for ownership for $329,900. Furniture is included. Again, one of the best values I've seen. And we do a lot of real estate sales here, but for Aruna and seeing what's on the market and then comparing it to other properties we've seen, it's just makes, I mean, it blows all the other competition out of the water. But so this one's going for $329,900. I mentioned too that rooftop veranda space. So it does span the entire square footage of the unit below, and you have all of this additional space to live and to be outdoors, and you do still have the water views, even though you're not canals. So this one I think is a real winner. I think it'll do really quite well in the rental market, and it's really for someone I'd say who's more investment mindset. However, you can live in here and customize, you know, one of the sides to be more livable if you're thinking about spending some more time here. Phase 2 is sold out. So I'm going to just continue on here and we're going to focus now on phase 3. So this is where we're going to talk about the new condos. I'm really excited about them. But you can see here, follow the yellow rectangle here. This is phase 3. Within phase 3, we have the 8-plex. It's 4 units per floor. The tiny homes, 2 models of tiny homes that you can choose from. And then in addition to that, we have the 2 and the 3 bedroom single family homes. You can opt to be in 14, 13, or even 12 if that is the location that is desirable to you. And we do have 3 that are already sold. So, but that being said, we are going to jump in. Please note that this is not drawn to scale. So don't take this and bring it to Land's department and say, I think this is what it looks like. You know, we have more accurate ones that have been surveyed and done, but I just wanted to give you a visual to see what it looks like from above a little bit. So E1, C16, and C15, these are all sold. C14 and 13, this is where you have the space to do a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom. And do note that when you're buying and owning the bigger homes, the 2 and the 3-bedroom, you do own the land and you own the home. So the prices that you see include the lot and it includes the home. I know at a project that's very similar to this, they're selling the lot for like $200,000, $250,000 alone. And then on top of that, you have to build another $300,000-$400,000 home plus all these extras. And what I really like about this project is there's a firm price. This is what it is. It includes a lot. It's very affordable. And I just think it's unique in the sense that it has more of that boutique feel. So C12, I mentioned you can be more tiny homes or a larger 2 or 3 bedroom model. Tiny homes you'll find here, there's going to be 3 on the lot over here, C17, so or C11 rather, so C A, C, B, C, C, and then the ones A and B that are listed here will be canal front, whereas C here will be garden side. So just something to note. And then the future 4-plex, there will be 4 4-plex buildings that will be running down the line over here. And so it gives you, especially if you're on the 2nd floor, it gives you a little bit more of a view because you're able to look above and over the homes that you see here currently. And then this is the model R3 that I mentioned to you is available for ownership within phase 1. And you get, again, you can see the overhanging decks and it's a really, really beautiful location and within proximity to the amenities. So the 4 models we're going to discuss first are ones that you probably have seen before if you've been following us. And they're the ones, follow my cursor, that will fit in C14 down here to C11, C14 to C11. So it's the tiny home models and also the 2 and the 3 bedroom models. These are the 2 tiny home models. It's Amana, which is a studio with a full kitchen, and then Kokora, which is a loft home. And you can see that the Kokora is larger in size, whereas the Amana really, I say, has everything that you need encompassed in it. However, it is a smaller square footage. So here on the island, I did see there was another tiny home that just sold for about $300,000. And so I think that these really are priced well, especially when you're comparing it to what's on the market at this point. Note that these prices do not include closing costs or furniture packages. We do have designated furniture packages that you can decide to purchase if you do want to put your home in the rental program. However, if you want to come and live here, you can, of course, furnish it on your own. You don't need to go through the furniture package. Note that these prices are valid until the end of 2023. I mentioned that because like 6 months later, people will come back to me and be like, all right, we're ready for that Tula model that we saw at 505. And it's like, well, that model sold out, that phase sold out, we're on the next phase out, and it's not 505 anymore. And so, you know, we like to reward the people who are doing their due diligence now, taking action, because we also can't guarantee what prices are going to be in 6 months from now. So this at least locks you in, you know, the price, you know what you're getting for it. And, you know, there are no surprises. It's not like, you know, you decide to move forward and say, oh, surprise, you're going to be paying another $100,000 more or whatever. You are locked in at this, which I think is a huge advantage for when you're buying pre-construction, because I've heard of other projects that don't do that. And all of a sudden, you know, there's this escalation clause in there for 15% more. You're paying a lot more than you thought. And it really does start to break the budget a little bit. So wanted to just mention that. So these are the 4 models that we're going to be talking about within this phase 3 location. The It's a Mono, when you include the furniture in, you're looking at about $260, and then of course add the closing costs on top of that. But there is the plunge pool that can be added for an additional cost if you do decide that you want that. What I like about this model is that it's comprehensive. It has everything that you need on one floor. You walk in, you have a washer dryer hookup on our lockout closet, the full kitchen, bathroom, king bed, and it's a studio model in the sense that it doesn't have a partition or divider between the room and the living space. That's really how we determine studio versus 1 bedroom. But if you're coming down, living here, maybe with a partner or by yourself, or perhaps you just want to cater to couples or somebody who's coming down, this could be a really great and affordable option. And this is a single standing structure. As you can see here, this is a single standing structure, so you're not sharing a wall with anybody else. The Kokora is the second tiny home model that I wanted to mention. As you can see, it's quite large. I would say at 1,000 square feet when you include the exterior space, but you can get in for about $302,000. And then from there, that's if you want the furniture package, but for $289,900, again, I think it's a very comprehensive turnkey solution for somebody who is looking for some larger square footage. This does have a loft. It also has a little office space right over here. And I know we have an owner of this model who is looking at doing like a half bath upstairs. So the neat part is when you're coming in pre-construction, you can customize it a little bit. You can talk with us and figure out what it is that you really want to do so that we can customize it a little bit to be the perfect property for you. Now, you can do a half bath. They also are doing a full bath up here, but I know like in the middle of the night when I get up, I need to go to the bathroom, like going down the stairs may not necessarily be a good idea when I'm sleepy. And if you're kind of on the same path or the same page, then you can always add that half a bath up there. So again, just a little bit more of the customizations that can be included when you are coming in pre-construction. So you can see here the floor plan, the overview of how it looks. Tula model. So we are getting more and more people who are looking at places that they can own now and relocate to later. And so there are 2 models, the Tula, which is a 2-bedroom, and the Udara, which is a 3-bedroom, which I think is a really great option for those people who are thinking about spending some more time here down the line, or perhaps you're just looking to cater to a different group of the rental market, right? You're not necessarily looking to cater to the honeymooners. Maybe you want to cater towards more of the families that are coming down. And with both of these models, the Tula and the Udara, you have this lap pool here, which comes included. I love this feature about it. It does come included. You also have a little outdoor grilling area, so you have that outdoor space. Of course, you have the full kitchen inside, but it just gives a little bit more of that hominess feel, I would say, than some of the other models. So with the Tula and Udara, this one, the lot is part of it. It's part of the freehold package and the freehold title. But when you're including the furniture, you're looking at about $528 all in, plus of course the closing costs. So you can see some of the interior. So this is where we really are capturing that Bali and Tulum interior style that we mentioned earlier as we were discussing Aruna and the vision for this property. And then here's the floor plan. What I like about it is there are the 2 separate bedrooms. So there's the master bedroom and then the open living space, and then also the bedroom over here that has the guest bath that you can access by the connecting door or from the hallway over there. Something else that we've had some owners customize when they're coming in for the Tula model is instead of this table, they put an island here, maybe with another sink. So again, when you're coming in pre-construction, you have the ability and the flexibility to do these changes to really customize it. And then I mentioned to you that outdoor barbecue area. Now we're going to jump to the Udara. This is a 3-bed, 2-bath home plus lot, all included in that price of under $600,000. And you'll see that this model is very similar to the Tula that we were just looking at, except there's a third bedroom right over here. Now, we have had some people ask if they can move that third bedroom upstairs, and it is possible. It would be considered a change order, but it is possible, so that you have the Tula, in a sense, the Tula, the 2 bedrooms downstairs, and then you're able to go upstairs and get that third bedroom space. So again, it's possible, but it just needs to be done beforehand. So here's an overview of what's included. We have 3 spaces for the tiny homes, and then just a couple for the 2 bedroom and the 3 bedroom at this point. However, do feel free to chat with us about what you're looking to accomplish. And I know there's going to be a lot of information, a lot of details, a lot of numbers. And so I say the best thing to do is also just to reach out to us to let us know what you're trying to accomplish, so we can see what model makes sense for you. All right. With that being said, we are going to jump to our brand new release of our boutique style condos here at Aruna. I'm really excited about these. I think that this is a great addition to the property. As you can see, we really wanted to keep them in line with the current models that we've already constructed. So there aren't going to be tall structures. They are limited to 2 stories. And when you see the interior, you'll see that it really matches that calming take that we have within the Aruna project. So we are introducing canal front 1 bedrooms and gardens studios, which can also be considered a lockout. So it can be a duplex. You can see right over here, this is the entrance in. Follow my cursor. I know there's a lot of lines, a lot going on, but you walk up the stairs, or you get to the first floor, or you get to the second floor, and then there's the door here. So this can be a duplex model. You can decide to own both of them should you choose, or you can own one or the other. So it really just depends on what your goals are, what your budget is, what you want to accomplish. I think this, again, mentioned this before, but I'm going to reiterate it because I've seen a lot of properties here. This is one of the best values on the market today. So you have the garden studios and then the canal 1 bedrooms. I'm going to just highlight some of the differences for you. When we go to the studio, you can see this is the open floor plan. There's a kitchenette. So not a full kitchen, but it does have a nice sized bathroom with a double vanity. And here you see ample outdoor space. You see that porch, which is larger than the one that we have in the 1 bedroom. When you hop to the 1 bedroom over here, there is the full kitchen, living space, and then the bedroom over here, which just has a wall partition, so that you do have that individual bedroom versus it being a studio unit. And I know a lot of times people like that additional privacy versus having it be open, versus like a studio, like a hotel room versus a 1 bedroom, which can be a lot more private and tends to be a lot more private. So it can be owned as a duplex. It can be owned individually, but do note the 1 bedrooms both overlook the canal, and then the studios that we see over here overlook the gardens. And so really flexible depending on how it is that you want to own. You can decide that you want to own 1, you can own 2, you can own the own floor, whole floor if you're looking for some rental options. Here's the 2nd floor. So you can see it's an 8-plex, 8 units in total, where you have really everything you need either for an efficient, I would say, rental, or even if you want to spend time here. I think that the square footage is really quite welcoming, right? Especially for the studio. So you see at almost 650 square feet, the studios, they have that kitchenette. So it's more of that open floor plan where you have the kitchenette there, you have the bedroom, or the bed rather, and then the living space. And so you can see how affordable these are. They start at $179,900 for the 1st floor. And then the studio model goes up to $189,900 for the 2nd floor. So from the 2nd floor, you get a little bit better of a view. You would have some water views looking out, but you can pair that up with the furniture package looking under $190,000 for brand new construction on the island with some water views or some garden views in the development. I just haven't found that before. So you do have a really good opportunity here to jump in and capture something within the market that I don't think we're going to be really seeing again. And with these 8 plexes, you saw that there were 4 slated. We are launching this first one. I can tell you once we get to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th that the prices will incrementally go up. So this is the lowest prices that we'll see for the 8-plex model over here, that you can see under $190,000 for this model, including the furniture. I think it's a real winner. And now we're going to jump to the Kosha model, which is a 1 bedroom, 1 bath. You can see square footage is just a little bit larger, but it's laid out a little bit differently. It doesn't have as large as the balcony space, but it does have a totally separate closed off 1 bedroom. So this is important if you are thinking about living here. Maybe you want to entertain guests at some point, but it does have that full kitchen which I think is a really big difference between the studio and the 1 bedroom. And then in addition to that, it will have the owner lockout closet and a washer dryer hookup. So key factors that I think make it more livable than the studio, but these start at $250, and then that's on the first floor. Second floor, you're going up to $259.9. Note that both of these options are canal front, so you will have water views if you decide to own within this building. And then when you include the furniture, and you're looking at about 261, 262 all in, that's for the first floor specifically, but just a really comprehensive product and project that I would say for this 8-plex. So here's an overview of what we just talked about: numbers, availability. Feel free to reach out to me if you want more specifics. And of course, as I talk about this is all based on when we're doing our live session here on October 12th. And prices don't include furniture or closing costs, rather. Again, talk to me if you're not really familiar with closing costs in Belize. Be happy to go through that with you. But if you're listening to this on YouTube months from now, I can't guarantee the availability or that the prices are going to be the same. So Brad, I don't know if you're on over here, but something that Brad asked us as he was going through the ownership process was like, talk to me about the construction methodology, because you will see in the first 10 homes of phase 1, those are built out of wood construction. And then for the last 4 homes in phase 1, all of phase 2 and phase 3, the construction methodology is a little bit different. So how I look at it, and just to simplify it for the non-construction people out there, it's like a prefab steel cut construction with panels and insulation that is further casted with concrete. So that's how I can put it in layman's terms for everyone. However, if you are more of a construction person, feel free to reach out. We do have like the whole methodology about what we're doing here at Aruna, so that you can take a look through that and learn a little bit more. But however, I do want to note that the steel is cut, the steel and then also the panels are cut in a factory, and it takes about 3 to 4 months for the steel to get cut. Comes out here to the island, which takes a month or 2 to get to the island, and then from there it's assembled, and assembly takes a few months. So this is pre-construction. I would say about a year is going to be my best guess for how long it's going to take for each of the homes to get constructed. However, we are enjoying that the homes are getting sold fairly quickly so that they can all be built and started around the same time. So I think this is a really unique method of construction here, because typically you just see the block construction or you see wood, but this is something that is proven to be durable, proven to be hurricane proof and less maintenance than general wood. But it is a very productive and proactive system to construction. All right, so recapping what we talked about: phase 1 actively under construction, 2 units remaining. Phase 2 is sold out at this point. That's also actively under construction. Phase 3 we're now selling, taking deposits for, so that you can choose the location that you like the best, and then that can be where your new home is located. I understand, I've been in real estate for a while, understand that in real estate, it's all location, location, location. The people who are staying with us for however long get to see the new models before they come out, or as they're coming out, and get the choice to choose where it is that they want to be versus choosing what's remaining. And I think that there is some really great options here within phase 3, where you're still close to the amenities over here. You're still close to the front of the canal, and you can really have the beautiful views that you've perhaps been envisioning over your time. So I know there's a lot of numbers. I know there's a lot of information. We're going to send you the presentation here so you can take a look through it. Also send you the recording, but I would highly recommend you just reach out to us if you're not really sure where to go next. But I do want to highlight and guide you to some options just to break it down a little bit easier. If you're looking for the most economical option, the first floor gardens condo studio would be your best option. This is including furniture at I'm going to say $189, just to round up a little bit. If you're looking for the best canal front value, that would be the R3 studio in phase 1. This is also the best option for somebody who's looking for rental income sooner rather than later. This is going for $239.9, including the furniture. That does not include closing costs, so just bear that in mind. The best value for rental, I would say, is that duplex model that we talked about in phase 1, because you have 2 sides, connecting door in between, each with their own bathroom. And then best for families, I would say, would be the 3-bedroom Udara model, which has that lap pool for under $600. Now, I want to mention a few key takeaways for you before we before we wrap up here. One is that there is developer financing available. It is short-term developer financing. So it's 40%. You have to come up with 60%, 8% interest, 3-year balloon. He will finance up to a 20-year amortization. So you would have that balloon payment at the end of the 3rd year. Or if you don't want to have a balloon payment, you can just amortize it over 3 years. And do note that there is no interest paid during construction. So that's a nice perk. In addition to that, the payment timeline. So $2,500 is the deposit. That's when you pick out one of the locations that you like, decide that you want to move forward. We'll send you the paperwork. After you receive the paperwork, you have 7 days to decide if you want to move forward or not. At the end of the 7th day, after we've gone through questions and whatnot, then you'll send 50% minus the deposit. The next payment does not come until construction is active. That's 20% when the foundation is in, the next 20% when the walls are up, and then the next 10%, final 10% when the keys are handed over. So if you're someone who needs to stretch out your payments a little bit more, I would certainly recommend looking at the pre-construction, because you do have this 1 year, I'd say 1 year timeline as these payments will get made. And so it just makes it a little bit easier. However, if you're not able to come up with that 100% there, then you can take advantage of the developer financing of the 40%. I mentioned this to you as we were chatting here, but change orders are possible if it is pre-construction. And so typically, if you are deciding to move forward, what you would do is you put your deposit in. We would get an idea of what change orders you're looking for, give you a rough estimate of costs. And then once you are committed, then our team will commit to you and get all those change orders done and give you a final quote for it. Now, note that if you are participating in change orders, furniture and closing costs, those cannot be financed, and those you need to be paid from cash, right? So just factor that in and bear that in mind as you're putting your numbers together. So I mentioned to you about 45 minutes. I think we are at about the 45-minute mark, a little bit over at this point. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Our team would love to hear from you and go through any questions that you have. I think that, gosh, I've just been here for over a decade at this point, and just see this as a really good opportunity here and want to be able to share with you what it is I'm finding here being boots on the ground. So if you want a copy of the brochure, if you want a pro forma for any of the models, or if you want to do a virtual walkthrough, our team is really happy to do that with you. You'll hear from Gian or Natalie or Katie. I pop in every now and again, but they are really here to help provide all that information that you need. And then if you do decide to come down in person, of course, we'd love to show you the project and the property in person. Best email address to reach us is info@lunarealtybelize.com, info@lunarealtybelize.com. I do get a copy of that, so I'll say hi and see how you're doing and all of that fun stuff. But we really are excited about this, and I hope that you are too. So with that being said, thank you everybody for joining us, for tuning in, staying with us for the 45 minutes here. And I look forward to seeing you in Belize soon. Bye, everyone.